Alright, what's going on guys? It's Almond. Welcome back to another Wizard101 video. In today's video, I want to talk about a minor change, but still pretty big change that I do want to talk about that happened to the balance spell recently. So recently we got a couple patch notes that came out, and we even got a patch this morning. So a lot of things were changed here and there. Of course, you guys already seen the gear video, and alongside some bosses got changed. I will do a video talking about the patch notes probably after this video, because I really want to focus on the spell that got changed. And thankfully, you know, KI, they did listen to us. You know, they heard our opinions about balance, because the balance spell was changed. It finally got changed, and honestly, I think this is perfect, right? Because the balance school was like the only one that didn't have access to a round 1 AoE. Because the fact that you needed 2 school pips, you needed a storm pip and you needed a death pip, right? And they weren't just going to scrap the animation or add a gambit or something like that, because down the line these spells should or receive a gambit down the line, but at the moment they just have a damage path and that's it. So the way that they tweak the spell is, hey, let's just make it storm damage and make it require a death pip, so it's still considered like you're using the two versions of it. I think this is perfect. I think moving forward, if for balance, they should do something like this, where it requires a certain school pip and then does damage of another school, because since what it happens with balance is, you know, what they did with the balance spell from Novus, it required a life pip and it required a an ice pip, right? So in that animation, you know, it shows balance damage, life damage, and ice damage. So the only other way that they could have revamped this spell maybe is either doing it, hey, it's 3 pips, requires a storm pip and it does death damage, or hey, it's gonna do death pip and it requires, or it does storm damage. I think the storm damage was a good option in my opinion. And when it comes to using the spell, it's very similar to Hydra. You know, Hydra, it uses balance damage to buff up the spell, but when you actually want to blade it or anything like that, it uses you can use storm blades and stuff like that, and it can, you know, it buffs it up. So it's very similar in that regard. And I know to some players it might be a little bit confusing, but for balanced players, I hope you understand that it's very similar to Hydra and you can just do it that way. So now I think everyone has a fair AoE that is usable and you can do round 1. I think there's to spells, if they want to make more adjustments, I think they can if they really want to, but I think every spell is in a good spot right now when it makes its way to live realm. I don't think any of the other spells should receive a change or a tweak. They can if they really want to, like I said, they can, but honestly I think this was a good change, and now balance is the only one that's left out, because this whole patch or this whole update, balance was kind of getting shafted like slowly, and now they're slowly on the rise. So kind of glad, because now this does replace you know, 4 pip hits for balance. This is a better turn 1 hit. It is better than Dragoon, right? So if you want to consider that, yes, Dragoon is spammable, right? I know people were bringing that up in my comment sections at one point, like saying, hey, you're wrong, Dragoon is spammable. But if you're going to kill round 1, do you really need to use another Dragoon hit? If you need a Dragoon hit like a second time, that is his own separate issue, where it's like, hey, maybe I'm doing a certain fight where I have to do multiple hits, then I can understand your opinion. But if I'm just gonna hit round 1 with everybody else and we have the same Arch Mastery, whatever, it doesn't really matter, just use this, right? If you really don't want to use the spell, use Dragoon. I never said Dragoon was completely terrible. It has its usage in fights where you have to hit multiple times, and you know, Dragoon is requiring 1 less pip, so I can understand that opinion, and I've said that in my video I think multiple times, but I don't know. I don't know how else to like explain it better when it comes to my videos. I try my best to explain everything. You know, sometimes I may forget something like here and there, but 99% of the time I will get or try to explain all the information I can. If not, I will always talk about it in the comments down below if I need to further assess something and, you know, players are still confused on certain things. But yeah, so it's very much like Hydra, like I said, very much like Spectral Blast and everything like that. It will go based upon your balance stat, and then it will buff up the storm damage in that regard. I don't know how this spell exactly will work if you're dual schooling. Like for example, if I wanted to learn Rainbow Serpent on another school, I would assume it still uses balance damage as its stat to buff it up. But I know some players are arguing, well, I storm damage on it, you know. But if the spell itself is balanced, it's going to require balance damage. Even though it's doing 430 storm damage, it's using its balance stat to buff up the actual spell. So if I had 59 balance damage, that will be considered into the spell. So keep that in mind when doing this. But like I said, overall, AoE's perfect. I know down the line I would wish that they have gambit mechanics behind them, but I think it's because they don't have like they have to like revisit some tech about doing conditionals on multiple targets at once. So just keep that in mind. But overall, I think Wallaroo update has been good so far. I know I will talk about a video revisiting some of the patches. Spark apparently worked on the patch notes this morning. They were kind of delayed, but it's okay because you know, I was busy recording other videos for you guys. So you should see more videos either today or tomorrow. As always, with all the Wallaroo stuff, I'm trying my best to cover everything. You know, I'm trying. If I miss out some stuff, if you haven't seen it as a video yet, do let me know in the comments below if you want me to cover certain things. I know some players were asking me to cover either the Beastman content or whether it be the housing stuff. I guess housing got a big improvement and some UI stuff was changed, so players are asking if I can cover that. And honestly, I don't mind. If you guys really want me to cover it, I can actually cover it in the video. I've been trying my best to cover everything as much as I can. I know some players haven't been looking at the test realm. Instead, they've just been rather watching videos, which I completely get. So that's why I'm trying to cover as much as I can, so players can just like look at the videos if they want to, or just go back to the video and stuff like that. And of course, if stuff does get changed in test round, I will cover it. For example, like the gear just recently got changed again, so I did cover that. And I covered the 2 different sets, and you know, I showed off all the gear. So if people wanted to, like, hey, want to pause it at a certain point and look at the gear, it works out for them, you know. But like I said, with the Rainbow Serpent, pretty good. I still need to cover spell changes, of course. That video should be coming out either today or tomorrow, depending on how my editing schedule works. But I do have to cover up some of the spells that were changed. A lot of healing spells that have a hot got reworked in a way where they have less heals, because healing was an issue in PvP, and it does affect advanced combat as well. So it's going to affect that as well. So depending on that, we might have to revisit some of these rematches, revisit some of these challenge modes, and maybe, you know, revamp the whole setup regarding having basically Darkmoor deck, because Darkmoor deck is going to be kind of like useless due to the fact that there is limitations now on Pigsy and I think regenerate as well. So that affects that fights in a certain matter, because if you don't pull the cards that you want, then at that point you are gonna have to like tweak up some stuff. So that is it for me, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me quickly going over Rainbow Serpent. I appreciate the person that did help me cast the spell. At the moment, the fire spell is still broken even though it said in the patch, I believe, that it got fixed. Still broken, so I had to go look for somebody to help me cast the spell. Shout out to them. So thank you. But yeah, that is it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all type of stuff. Be on the lookout for more Wallaroo vids as well, and join the Discord if you guys haven't. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace out, guys.